everybody, it's Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 here, and welcome to the October 2025 Orichalcos Challenge. This is basically the first time since 2024, like summer 2024, I believe, that the Orichalcos Challenge has been revisited. Some significant changes have happened since you all last saw the challenge. Initially, there were 4 Orichalcos challenge decks that a player could choose from when they are about to take the Orichalcos challenge. There is easy, normal, hard, and nightmare mode. Well, I decided to restructure the difficulty system from 4 decks down to 3. There is now the new and improved normal difficulty, which is basically or as I pretty much like to call it now, the standard difficulty, which is basically the easy and the normal decks merged together. Easy, normal equals standard. You pretty much get the gist. So both of those decks are now merged together. And also I have revised the rules to the Orichalcos challenge a little bit. I'll be going over the rules in this video at the end. This way everybody who pretty much is possibly interested in taking the Orichalcos challenge, they'll know how the rules work. This way it can be a very enjoyable experience. So anyway, enough of my rambling. Here is the Orichalcos Challenge Standard Mode deck profile. Just letting everybody know, I did do a lot of eroding of cards. So some cards have been tweaked here and there, just not just for consistency, but to make sure that the Orichalcos challenge overall is not too OP out of the gate. That's why I invented standard difficulty, hard difficulty, and nightmare mode. Nightmare mode being the most overpowered, standard difficulty being pretty much the easiest, and hard mode is like right in the middle of the two. Anyway, enough of my rambling. Let's get started. So, first off, we got 1 copy of Orichalcos Shaman and 1 copy of Orichalcos Sorcerer. You all have seen my Orichalcos challenge in the past. You guys pretty much know who these two are by now, but for those who don't, this is what they do. Orichalcos Shaman at first. He is a dark level 4, 1500. And if he's normal summoned, I can special summon a level 4 lower Orichalcos monster from my hand or deck. I can shuffle up to 3 cards of different names from my graveyard into my deck, then I draw 2 cards. I can change his level from 1 to 8. I can only control 1 Orichalcos Shaman, and I can only use each of this card's effects once per turn only. What Orichalcos Sorcerer does is as follows. If this card is special summoned by the effect of a level 4 or lower Orichalcos monster, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Orichalcos monster from your hand or deck. You can target 1 fusion, synchro, or Xyz monster in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck. I can change this card's level from 1 to 8. If this card is used for a fusion, synchro, or Xyz summon, I can add an Orichalcos card from my deck or graveyard to my hand. I can only control 1 Orichalcos Sorcerer, and I can only use each of this card's effects once per turn only. So that's what they do. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Fairy. What Orichalcos Fairy does, it's pretty much an Orichalcos version of Sunny Pixie, but she's different. Because what she does is if she's sent to the graveyard for the synchro summon of a dark attributed monster, I gain 2,000 life points. And if I would take effect damage, I can discard this card to make my opponent take the effect damage instead. Then I gain life points equal to the effect damage my opponent took. That's how she works. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Priestess. Basically, what Orichalcos Priestess is, she's a light level 4, 1500, 1500, and she's a spellcaster, just like Orichalcos Sorcerer and Orichalcos Shaman. But what she does is this. During each of my standby phases, I gain 500 life points for each other Orichalcos monster I control. I could pay 1,000 life points, special and 1 level 4 lower Orichalcos monster from my graveyard. However, that monster's effects are negated. I can only use this effect once per turn only, and I can only control one Orichalcos Priestess. That's how she works. Now we get into the stuff you guys are very familiar with. 2 Orichalcos Shunoros. Very simple. Basically, special summon it by paying 500 life points. All battle damage I take drops to 0. If this fang gets blown up, out comes this guy. Orichalcos Shunoros with his arms of awesomeness. Orichalcos Dexia, Orichalcos Aristoros. So, Shunoros, his attack is equal to the amount of battle damage that my Kitora is absorbed when it's destroyed. And basically, Orichalcos Dexia, his attack points are always... Where is it? His attack is... Let me just locate it. His attack is always 300 points higher than the monster is battling. And Orichalcos Aristoros is always 300 defense points higher than the monster it's battling. But Aristoros does another thing too, because you see, Aristoros has another effect that was was not included. I think this effect was not included the last time I did the Orichalcos challenge deck trials, but I can't remember. Anyway, basically, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, I can change the attack target to this card, and the defense of this card becomes equal to the attack of that monster times 300. So that's basically what he does. And essentially, as you all know, when Shunoros gets blown up, the arms go with him, and when that happens, bam, Divine Serpent. Infinite attack points. Can't attack unless I mill the top 10 cards of my deck. Have to give up all my life points when it's summoned and my hand, but as long as he's on the field, I remain in the game regardless of win conditions, including Exodian. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Gygus. Simple. Every time he gets blown up, he comes back to the field 500 points stronger than he was before. Very simple. 1 copy of Orichalcos Doom Beetle. What he does is, if this card is destroyed while I control a face-up Orichalcos field spell, I can apply one of these effects. I can either inflict 800 to my opponent for each card in their hand, or I can summon this card in attack position. 1 copy of Orichalcos Magus. Simple. He gains 400 attack for all other Orichalcos monsters I control. That's simple. 1 copy of Orichalcos Malevolence, and what he does is, I can once per turn target a defensive monster my opponent controls and changes the face-up attack position. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, my opponent sends the top 3 cards of their deck to the graveyard. That final effect was an addition to him I made years ago. 1 copy of Orichalcos Knight and 1 copy of Orichalcos Dark Knight. Now these two are pretty much brothers, but they have similar effects. Orichalcos Dark Knight, what he does, oh, and before I get to them, I forgot to mention one other thing about I forgot to mention one thing about Orichalcos Magus and Doom Beetle. Doom Beetle's attack is 1700, his defense is 800, dark level 4. Magus is a dark level 4, 500 attack, 500 defense. And he's a spellcaster. The only reason why I'm not going over the anime Orichalcos monsters is most of y'all know them very well by now. Um, um, as for Orichalcos Knight and Orichalcos Dark Knight, Orichalcos Knight is Dark level 4, 1400 attack, 1700 defense, and if it destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the grave, I pay 500 life points to add an Orichalcos card from my graveyard to my hand. Orichalcos Dark Knight is a Dark level 4, 1400, 1700, and they're both warrior, by the way. If this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, I pay 500 life points, banish that monster. During the end phase of the turn to activate this effect, I can shuffle an Orichalcos card from my graveyard into my deck, then draw a card. So they're both similar, but at the same time they have differences. Next up, Orichalcos Soldier. Now, this is a very good monster. He's a Dark level 4. 1700 attack, 1600 defense. He's also a warrior. Cannot be normal summoned or set. If I control an Orichalcos field spell, I can special summon this card from my hand. Once per turn only, I can destroy one card on the field. This effect cannot be used if you don't control an Orichalcos field spell. While this card is face up on the field, monsters my opponent controls lose 200 attack during each of their standby phases. Next up, Orichalcos Shunoros. This is one of the boss monsters of my deck besides Divine Serpent. He is Dark level 8, question mark attack, 0 defense. And as you can see, he's got cool artwork too. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by banishing 2 Orichalcos monsters from your graveyard. If this card is special summoned, add 1 Orichalcos card from your deck to your hand. This card's original attack is equal to the number of monsters, Orichalcos monsters in your graveyard, times 400. If a monster or monsters you control would be affected by an opponent's monster effect, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. You can only use each of this card's effects once per turn only. Next up, Dragoness Orichalcos. He's a dark 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's a dark level 12. Question mark attack, question mark defense. Cannot be normal summoned or set. Must be special summoned from your hand by attributing 3 Orichalcos monsters on your field with different names while you control an Orichalcos field spell, and cannot be special summoned by other ways. This card's original attack is equal to the number of cards that are on the field and in both players' hands times 500. Once per turn only, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, destroy all spell and traps on the field. Now, this thing is pretty much the most dangerous monster in my entire deck. More dangerous than Divine Serpent himself, even though Divine Serpent has infinite attack. This thing can get crazy real quickly, depending on the amount of the amount of cards that are on the field in both players' hands times 500. So say our fields are full and our hands are full, all I need to do is just attack one time, then bang, done. And if this thing is destroyed by battle into the grave, it's pretty much a heavy storm. 1 copy of Nightbeam, the Darkest Pony. So what Nightbeam does is, and by the way, Dragoness Orichalcos is a dark level 12 dragon. I forgot to mention the type. But Nightbeam is a dark level 4 spellcaster, 1700 attack, 1500 defense. Cool artwork. Shout out to Cal Impotent, aka Callum Florentine, aka Orichalcos 96, aka Tyler Jungerheld. Thank you, dude. If this card is normal summoned, I can add up to 3 Orichalcos field spells from my deck to my hand, and I can pretty much add any Orichalcos field spells I want. I can add the Seal of Orichalcos, Orichalcos Dutros, Orichalcos Tritos, or I can just add 3 copies of the seal. 1 copy of Lord of the Orichalcos Army. Dark level 6, Fiend, 2500 attack, 2000 defense. Negates the effects of all traps that target this card. During your draw phase, you can add one level 4 lower Orichalcos monster from your deck to your hand instead of conducting your normal draw. So he's basically just another way for me to get resources. And he's a good beat stick under the seal too. He's 2,500, but the Seal of Orichalcos gives all monsters I control 500 additional attack points, so he's a free K beater under the seal. Excuse me. Next up, one copy of Orichalcos Searcher. Essentially, it's an Orichalcos version of Jinzo, but he's completely different than Jinzo himself. He's a dark level 4 machine, 1200 attack, 1600 defense, and if this card is sent to the graveyard, I can add 2 Orichalcos cards from my deck to my hand. So, no matter which way he's sent to the graveyard, whether I basically get 2 Orichalcos cards from my deck to my hand. So say if I discard him from my hand to the graveyard, if I send him from the deck to the graveyard, if he's sent from the field to the grave, no matter how he gets to the graveyard, if he's sent to the graveyard in general, I get 2 Orichalcos cards. And then one copy of Dartness Seed. I will keep saying this until I'm basically 6 feet into the ground. This is my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh monster of all time. I love Darkness Seed to death. Now, this monster, for those who don't know, is from the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh GX, Yu-Gi-Oh GX Season 4. You can basically find the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh GX anywhere you can find it. I highly recommend you watch it. It's a wonderful season. Wish they could English dub it, but we all don't get nice things in this world. But anyway, Darkness Seed. So, he's a plant, level 2, dark attribute, 1000 attack, 1000 defense. And what he does is this. If he's sent to the graveyard, I can activate this effect. And if I do so, on the second standby phase after this card's activation, he's summoned back with 2 special abilities. Number 1, he can't be destroyed by battle. Number 2, during the end phase, either player's end phase that is, if my life points are below 4,000, they go back to 4,000. So this is one of the ways I can keep my life points in check. So that's pretty much it for the monster lineup. Here's the spells. 3 copies of the Seal of Orichalcos in all of its glory. Now, for those who don't know, this is a re-errata, a redoing of the original Upper Deck Entertainment Seal of Orichalcos that was used in 2004 at the side events of the Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship qualifiers, or nationals as you call it. This is the most busted spell card of all time. Of all time. And there's many reasons why it's busted. Let me tell you how this works. This is what the Seal of Orichalcos really does. Cannot leave the field. Also, its activation and effects cannot be negated. All monsters you control gain 500 attack points. Your spell and trap card zones are also treated as main monster zones. Monsters in your back main monster zones cannot be attacked while you control monsters in your front main monster zones. In other words, while this is in play, my spell and trap card zones are extra monster zones. But there's more to this. I can move monsters from my main monster zones to my unused spell and trap card zones, or from my spell and trap card zones to my unused monster zones, or vice versa. In other words, I can move my monsters my front main monster zones to my back main monster zones, which are actually spell and trap card zones, but they're treated as main monster zones while I control the Seal of Orichalcos. This also has another effect. If a card or effect is activated, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, negate the activation, and if you do, destroy it. This is documented by Upper Deck Entertainment themselves as a spell speed 4 negation effect. There is no way to stop this effect once I activate this effect and discard this from my hand. You can't negate this effect with anything except by another spell speed 4 negation effect, like another copy of this. So say, for example, let me give you a demonstration. So say, for example, you activate Pot of Greed. I activate the Seal of Orichalcos from my hand. I pitch it from my hand to the graveyard to negate your Pot of Greed and destroy it. But then, say if you have a Upper Deck Entertainment seal like a redoing or any rotted Upper Deck Entertainment seal like this, say if you have one of these and you pitch it from your hand to the graveyard to negate the effect of my Seal of Orichalcos is spells for negation effect is negated. Because the thing is, you can only negate a spell speed 4 by another spell speed 4. It's as simple as that. You can't negate a spell speed 4 by a spell speed 3 or below. It's impossible. And then for the final effect, the loser of the soul of whichever duelist loses the duelist for the winner. Now I want to just bring that effect that part of the text there. It's basically for aesthetic purposes. No, this thing doesn't actually take souls. It's basically, for storyline purposes, aesthetic purposes, stuff like that. So don't worry. If you lose the duel, no, I don't get your soul. But I do basically retranslate that effect into something I do with the Orichalcos challenge, which I have it in the rules, which I'll be reading the rules shortly, so stay tuned. Anyway, that's pretty much the eroded Upper Deck Entertainment Seal of Orichalcos in a nutshell. Next up, Orichalcos Shunoros. This is the second layer of the seal. Basically, I send the Seal of Orichalcos from my field to the graveyard to activate Shunoros. I cannot activate another Orichalcos field spell, the turn I activate, let me just make sure I got this right. Yeah, cannot be activated on the same turn you activate a Seal of Orichalcos. So, basically, once the Seal of Orichalcos is activated, you can't, activate another Orichalcos field spell in that same turn. That would just be way too OP. So, you send the seal to the grave, activate Shunoros. Orichalcos Shunoros gains the same effects that are on the Seal of Orichalcos. So, essentially, what that entails is, on top of Orichalcos Shunoros' own effects, or it'll also have the Seal of Orichalcos effects. Orichalcos Shunoros has some pretty good effects. Here's the first one. During your main phase 1, gain 500 LP for each monster you control. If an opponent's monster declares on a direct attack, you contribute one monster to negate the. Yeah, let me start over because I got a little tongue-tied. Okay. There we go. Sorry about that. Let me just start over that. So here's the first effect of Orichalcos Shunoros. During your main phase 1, gain 500 life points for each monster you control. So I gain life points. Cool. And here's the other effect. If an opponent's monster declares that a direct attack, you contribute a monster to redirect the attack to the attacking monster. So that effect doesn't come up often, but it does come up. Hold on just a minute, folks. I will be right back. Okay, people, I'm back. Sorry about that. Had to take my dog out. Anyway, Orichalcos Shunoros. the third layer of the seal. Basically, you send Dutros to the grave to activate this. Cannot be activated on the same turn that Orichalcos Dutros was activated. And it gains the effects of the Seal of Orichalcos and Orichalcos Dutros. But what Orichalcos Tritos does is that while on the field, all my monsters cannot be harmed by your spells and traps. Pretty much complete immunity. Next up, 2 copies of Chosen Destiny. I can pay 1,000 life points to either add an Orichalcos card from my deck to my hand, or I can destroy an Orichalcos card, ignoring its effects that would prevent it from being destroyed. 1 copy of Orichalcos Gateway, or as I like to call it, Orichalcos Eye on steroids. What this thing does is this. Once per turn only, you can activate one of the following effects. I can either pay 500 life points to shuffle 1 Orichalcos card from my hand or graveyard into my deck, then draw a card. I can pay 1,000 life points to add an Orichalcos card from my deck or graveyard to my hand. Or I contribute 2 Orichalcos monsters I control in order to destroy 2 spell or traps my opponent controls. And I'm noticing now, the final effect has a slight typo error, but I can fix that later on, no big deal. But anyway, that's pretty much Orichalcos Gateway in a nutshell. Orichalcos Forcum, this is another one of the many exclusive spells I run in this deck. Must control a face-up Orichalcos field spell in order to activate this card. If my opponent summons a monster, they take damage equal to half of that monster's original attack points. So, effectively, it's burn damage. 1 copy of Orichalcos Soul Deception. It's a continuous trap, just like with Orichalcos Forcum, which is also a continuous trap. Must be activated while I control an Orichalcos field spell, and control free Orichalcos monsters with different names. Once per turn only, I can contribute 1 Orichalcos monster I control, take control of 1 monster my opponent controls, with an attack less than or equal to the tributed monster's attack. So it's pretty much a way to just snatch monsters. Next up, 1 copy of Triple Calling. This card is always treated as an Orichalcos card, meaning I can search it. And its main effect allows me to add free Orichalcos field spells from my deck to my hand. Next up, the Legendary City of Atlantis. Another continuous trap. What it does, this card is also always treated as an Orichalcos card. Cannot be activated unless you control a face-up Orichalcos field spell. Once per turn only, if you control 4 or more Orichalcos cards on your field with different names, except an Orichalcos field spell, I can draw 2 cards. I can only control one. The Legendary City of Atlantis. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Destroyer. Essentially, I pay 1,000 life points to blow up every card on your field. That's how it works. And I can only activate 1 Orichalcos Destroyer per turn. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Transfer Draw. I can basically shuffle 1 Orichalcos, Mirror Knight Calling, or Divine Serpent monster in my hand, back into my deck, and then I draw 2 cards. Next up, 1 copy of Orichalcos Shadow Seal. What this does is, it's an equip spell, and what it does is, during every player's turn, I can discard this card from my hand to the graveyard to activate, and if I do, I target 1 monster my opponent controls and equip this card to that target. The equipped monster has its effects negated, then I add 1 Orichalcos card from my deck to my hand. If this card would be sent from the field to the graveyard, I can add it back to my hand instead. I can only activate 1 Orichalcos Shadow Seal per turn. Next up, 1 copy of Anti-Orichalcos Detonation Seal. Now we're on to the traps. What this does is I can destroy one Seal of Orichalcos on the field, ignoring its effects, then destroy all monsters on the field that were affected by the Seal of Orichalcos. And then I inflict 300 damage to each player's life points equal to the number of monsters that were destroyed by this card's effect. Next up, one anime grave robber. Basically, it's anime grave robber from the show. No need to go into any explanations. One copy of Rebirth Tablet. Just some nice resurrection support I added into the Orichalcos deck here. This card was used by Bakura in the final season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Basically, I will go into detail on what this does. Say if my monster is destroyed by battle, I can resurrect any other monster from my graveyard. One call the Haunted, and then for the last card, Orichalcos Concealing Sword. Now what this does is, if this card is activated, I flip all monsters my opponent controls into face-down defense position. My opponent cannot change their battle positions as long as this card remains face-up on the field. During my main phase, I can choose to destroy this card. That's pretty much the main deck. Here's the extra deck. So, we're going to first start off with basically the synchros, because I do run mainly synchros and exeses with this model. So, one copy of Orichalcos King. He's the main synchro monster in my deck. So, what Orichalcos King does is he's a level 8 Dark Fiend, free K, 2500. One Orichalcos tuner plus one more non-tuners. Once per turn only, I can banish one card my opponent controls. However, I cannot attack the turn this effect is activated. If this card destroys an opponent's monster, I banish it instead. If this card is destroyed, I gain 2,000 life points. Then we have one Stardust Dragon, one Blackhorse Dragon, one Ally of Justice Catastor, and one Clearwing Synchro Dragon. For the Exeses, I got one Steel Swarm Roach, one number 82 Heartland Draco, one Dark Rebellion Exes Dragon, one Tornado Dragon, one Diamond Dire Wolf, and then the exclusive Exes monsters for the standard Orichalcos challenge deck. First up, number 200 Orichalcos Soul Eater, my avatar and the main monster of my entire deck. Two level 5 Orichalcos monsters. Dark level 5, 2500 attack, 2000 defense. And remember, Orichalcos Shaman and Orichalcos Sorcerer, they can modulate the levels between 1 and 8. Therefore, with those two, I can make this. What it does is, once per turn, I can detach one material to attach one monster my opponent controls to this card as material. It gains 200 attack for each material attached to it. If this card would be destroyed, I could detach a material from this card instead. So, essentially, it just steals things, and it's just a big beater. Next up, one Orichalcos Warlock. What this does is, it's a dark level 4, that's a dark rank 4, just like how that's a dark rank 5, but this is one rank lower. Two level 4 Orichalcos Spellcaster monsters. Once per turn only, you can detach one material to activate one of the following effects. I can either blow up any card on the field, or I can banish one random card from your hand. That's just how he works. Next up, two copies of Orichalcos Gem Dragon. What he does is he's a dark rank 4, 2500 attack, 3000 defense. Requires two level 4 Orichalcos monsters to make it. He's a Dragon Exes monster too. This card's name is also treated as Orichalcos Dragon. You can detach one material to add one Orichalcos card from your deck or graveyard to your hand. You can detach one material to banish one card on the field. You can only use each of this card's effects once per turn only. You can only control one Orichalcos Gem Dragon. And then for the final monster in the extra deck, Orichalcos Evil Gear. Dark Rank 4. 2000 attack, 2600 defense. 2 level 4 Orichalcos or machine monsters. This card's name is also always treated as Dark Gear Geargian X. You can detach one material from this card to add one Orichalcos card or one machine monster from your deck to your hand. You can detach one material to banish one gadget monster in your graveyard to special and one gadget monster from your hand. You only use each of this card's effects once per turn only. You can only control one Orichalcos Evil Gear. And that is the Orichalcos standard difficulty deck profile. Hold on just a minute, guys. Someone's at my door. Hold on. Okay, folks, I am back. Okay, time to go over the rules to how the Orichalcos challenge works. So basically, the rules are as follows. Let me just make sure it's... There we go. Okay, here we go. In the Orichalcos challenge, decks are run in a modified advanced format where custom design and/or anime cards or cards that have a pre-errata or a anime effect are totally illegal for both players. My Orichalcos challenge features 3 different Orichalcos decks that have unreleased cards that were used by Dartz in the anime, including custom versions of the Seal of Orichalcos and Orichalcos Shunoros made with a modified version of their anime effects. For the purpose of the Orichalcos challenge, I need to run the modified anime effects of these cards. There are also a few other surprises in each of my Orichalcos decks. I run the Orichalcos challenge so that players and I can take a break from the harsh competitive atmosphere and put an interesting twist on the casual game. I created my Orichalcos challenge to bring skill and innovation back into Yu-Gi-Oh! And if you want to challenge the Orichalcos challenge, here are the rules. Rule number 1. Before the duel starts, my opponent chooses one of the 3 Orichalcos decks they wish to face. Each of my 3 Orichalcos decks range in difficulty. There is Standard, Hard, and Nightmare mode. Standard being pretty much the easiest one, hard being a bit tougher but still manageable to beat, and then Nightmare mode, which is basically the strongest and most powerfulest Orichalcos model to date. And from what I remember, only 2 people, I believe, have beaten the Nightmare mode so far. At least I think. I would have to go back to my records in my mind. Anyway, rule number 2. The Orichalcos challenges are best 2 out of 3 matches. Best 2 out of 3, basically. And it goes by a modified advanced format where custom design in or anime cards or cards that have a pre-errata or anime effect are totally legal for both players, like I mentioned before. I'm the final judge when it comes to the rulings of my custom cards. And now for rule number 5, which I just told you rule number 4, but here's rule number 5. This has to do with the aesthetics of the Orichalcos challenge. If a challenger loses while I have the Seal of Orichalcos in play, I get your name and put it on my soul list. This signifies that you lost your soul and that you've taken the Orichalcos challenge, and you cannot challenge the Orichalcos challenge again unless your soul is set free by somebody else. Rule number 6. If a challenger wins while the seal is active, that challenger may choose one soul to remove from my soul list. This signifies that you saved that soul and set it free. My soul cannot be claimed unless the soul list is empty. If you beat me while the seal is active and I have no souls on my soul list, the Orichalcos challenge is reset, and I have the option to change my Orichalcos challenge decks to make improvements. And the final three rules are basically stipulations. No FTKs, no match winners, no burn decks, and no Exodia or final counter or any other win conditions at all. I wanted to be fair and balanced on both fronts. And if you want to challenge the Orichalcos challenge, or talk Yu-Gi-Oh, or get to know me in general, you can find me on Discord. I'm Yu-Gi-Oh Master 88, and you can find me on Dueling Book. I'm MLB 11XNC22. The Orichalcos challenge is mainly Discord and Dueling Book exclusive. That's where the Orichalcos challenge usually takes place, either on Discord or Dueling Book. Which I gotta modify the Orichalcos decks on Dueling Book because those are so out of date. So, anyway, that is pretty much the 2025 Orichalcos Challenge Standard Difficulty Deck Profile. I thank you all so much for watching and so much tuning in. If you enjoyed these just as much as I do, then smash that like button, ring-a-ding that notification bell, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Also, remember to check out my Patreon. I have a $3 green penguin tier and a $5 red penguin tier. Both tiers have different Linux tech and Yu-Gi-Oh content from each other, as well as Linux tech and Yu-Gi-Oh content that you will not find on this YouTube channel. So please, if you want to support my YouTube channel and as well support me financially and support the future of what I do in terms of making Linux tech and Yu-Gi-Oh content for each and every one of you. Subscribe to my Patreon. You can either choose the $3 green penguin tier or the $5 red penguin tier, or you could choose both. It's up to you. Anyway, folks, have a good rest of your day, and until next time, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! Master 88 saying see you later. And next time, we will explore the Orichalcos Challenge Hard Mode difficulty. Later, all.